Welcome to the 7th seminar in the Fresh Start program. This is our agenda that we're going to be trying to get through today. We're going to be talking about some administrative items, applications, withdrawals, and spring and summer term questions that I've been getting. And then we're going to go into final exam mastery, how to master your final exams. But first, I want you to stand up as you're watching this, wherever you may be. I want you to take a Superman pose. I'm just going to walk you through that. That is basically a nice wide stance, shoulder width apart, a little bit bigger than shoulder width apart. Hands on your hips, clenched fists right on your hips, chest out, chin up just a little bit, and just stand there. And just striking this pose has been shown to release several hormones that have positive experience emotionally, and then our feelings will interpret those. And testosterone is one of the hormones that is released. Dopamine is released. Psychologically, we'll experience if we're having feelings of confidence, or this idea of being a Superman, being invincible, we may recall memories from feeling really confident, or succeeding, or performing well. So memories might start showing up as you're going through this, and even holding this just for 1 minute has, as you can see, a drastic biological, physiological, psychological, and emotional response in the body. These power poses have been shown to work, so give it a go for a minute, just standing there. I'm going to push pause. Make sure you push pause and give it a go just for 1 minute, so that you get right in the right frame of mind for the next 40 minutes or so. I hope you did that. You're going to be in a much better mood and feeling much better. This is something that's being tested against job interviews and blanking right now. No, it's exams. Obviously, the most applicable to students is students were given the opportunity to do a power pose before their exams, and they have I noticed enough for me to pass on the strategy. Now, if it's something that fits for you, do it. Use it. Get yourself pumped up for your exams. It will help to manage the excess stress that you're feeling at that time. But this can be used any time where you just need that extra, a little bit of energy. It's a very short strategy. 60 seconds is enough. Maybe even 3 or 4 minutes. Might see bigger benefits, I believe. Let's get into the administrative items. Students have been asking about applications. Luckily, there's been an extension. If you happen to have missed your application deadline for your faculty, the Faculty of Arts and Native Studies have extended their deadline until April 1st. The next part is everyone's waiting for acceptance. Now, your acceptance from the faculty that you did apply to will not come in until the winter grades have come in. So your winter grades will start coming in around the end of April, maybe even into the first week of May, depending on how on top of it your professors are. So then they will be all in by maybe the first week of May at the latest. Then faculties will be going through their applications, and then they'll start seeing yours. They'll be processing through all of the month of May, and then they will be, once they get to yours, in the middle of May, maybe the start of June, is where BearTracks will be updated. And if you have a successful application, you'll be notified through BearTracks and an email to UAlberta Alberta email address saying that there is a notification in BearTracks. Go and see the offer, and if the offer is there, then you click on the offer, and that means within 24 hours your BearTracks will change and adjust. And that goes on to point number 3 here, registration for fall classes for 2018. Then you'll be able to register in classes. You cannot register for any class in the fall because you're not in a faculty yet. Okay. If you have any questions, just email fstart@ualberta if you're having any of these problems, but this is pretty straightforward. Withdrawing, there is a process. There's an online process and an in-person process. You do need to complete a little bit of paperwork on our side of the Fresh Start program, and then the registrar requires you to complete the online form. This could be meet with me. You have to meet with me anyway. whether you withdraw or not. So even if you do the online portion first, the registrar contacts me to see if you've met with me. If you haven't, then the withdrawal doesn't go through. Or you can just come see me first, we can discuss it. And this discussion usually here, point number 2, we discuss it. At 2 and 3 here, it really is anywhere between 5 minutes and 40 minutes, depending on the type of dilemma that you're in. And we'll go through it pretty thoroughly to see if it's the best decision for you, and we'll just work through. So if you're having a dilemma if you should drop it or not, then come see me. We've still got a few weeks to sort it out. This is the actual link down here. This PDF, these slides are available as a PDF in the online course, but if you don't want to go in there, then you can just go straight to find the online form. Just do a Google search for Withdraw You Alberta and select the second link on the page. Google responses will all come up, and there'll be one. Don't click that one, click the second one, as it has this weird ROS Web P02 address, so it's not easy to remember. So just do the Google search and then pick the second one, look for this address. Spring and summer term, you don't have to submit any applications for the spring or summer term. They're freely available for you to take. You can take 1 up to a maximum of 2. However, they will be used for your Fresh Start GPA calculation. That's why we have them, is to help out students that are sitting if they're not sure they're going to meet satisfactory academic standing. So if you do register in them, go ahead, it's no problem. But just remember that they will be counted towards your Fresh Start GPA. There's no need for an application for spring registration. You can log on to BidTrax right now and do that. Summer term is different because your Fresh Start program will finish at the end of spring semester. So the spring term will end, and then summer term is the start of July, I believe. You're not in your faculty. If your acceptance from your faculty has come in and you've accepted that offer is for fall start. So then September is ready to go for the fall. You can register for classes there, but you can't register for any classes in the summer term. So to be able to do that, all you need to do is go online and submit an application to Open Studies. Fresh Start is over, faculty hasn't begun, so you need a new application for Open Studies just to be able to take a course if that's what you want to do. So submit a new one, go online and pay the $75 and just apply for Open Studies. Alright, final exams mastery, what you've been waiting for. I've got the subheading here of what do you want. This is this question will become clear. It's probably one of the hardest questions we can ever ask ourselves at any point in time. So don't be too hard if you can't answer it right now. Just by focusing on it, you're going to see the benefits that will come. I know that September feels like a really long time ago, and you're getting to the point where you can start seeing the finish line. I know that it's almost coming to an end. I've had the luxury of doing this for a really long time and can be a lot more sentimental and reflective than you guys, as you guys are in the thick of it. I've got this nice little stormy picture here. You guys are right here heading towards the storm, or maybe even the storm is right where you are. I would imagine this entire period, March and April, is a stormy period. But it's an apt analogy, as it's hard to think of anything outside of your life other than what's going on right now. I know that you have multiple deadlines, that you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling frustrated, you're feeling burnt out. Your day may even seem at times that you're constantly putting out fires or just trying to keep up with all of your material. You may be calling yourself lazy, useless, or a loser, or even worse, you may even be thinking it's hopeless. What's the point? The storm cloud becomes an apt analogy, and by having this as our analogy, it helps to point to maybe a few ways that we can be prepared, how to deal with the storm that's coming. My task tonight really was to show you how that you can manage the pressure that's coming and the pressure that is mounting, no matter what happens. Even if it's a hurricane storm, even if it's several tornadoes, how do you manage and still achieve what you really want to achieve? Marcus, as always, gives us a wonderful analogy of his own that this life, the art of life, is more like the wrestler's art than the dancer's art, and the respect that it should stand ready and firm to meet onsets which are sudden and unexpected. Do you have things that are sudden and unexpected happen in your life? Of course you do. Here he's saying a wrestler will stand ready and firm. These 2 points are going to come back again and again, and you've probably experienced them already. We can stand ready and firm, prepared and steadfast for the pressure to come. And the pressure you know will come. It's not that it's not going to happen or that you can avoid the pressure. You can't. That storm is too big and it's going to be too all-embracing that you can't avoid it. There is no avoiding the storm. You can't pretend that it's not there. Doing so will lead in catastrophe. I was in a presentation where the presenter started off by asking the audience, what do you get if you squeeze an orange? And everyone said, no, I guess some juice. And then he asked them, what if I squeeze it again? And they said, well, you'd get some more orange juice. He said, what if I squeeze it again? They said, well, I guess you're getting a little bit of orange juice, just whatever's left. And then he said, what if I squeeze you? And what if you got squeezed again? Now, there were some snickers and some laughter. People were like, I don't know, maybe you get some poop, or maybe a laugh, or a fart or something along those lines. But it becomes a greater analogy of what are you made of? What is the character? And you guys, what is lacking in this image is we know motivation decreases because of our environment, but we can't see why. What we know, this here I think is a better analogy for us than that graph of the student life cycle, is that you are being squeezed over and over and over. Do you have exams and assessments? Yes. Are you trying to manage a relationship, whether it's positive or negative? Do you have many emotions that you're trying to manage? Do you have multiple deadlines before your exams? Are you uncertain about the future? When I asked these questions in the seminar, it was just hand after hand after hand after hand, and it made everyone just 2 hands up. You are not alone. This is the common human experience. Your university career, all of these things that we're pointing to here, all of these things are important to you. We don't get stressed about things we don't give a shit about. We get stressed about the things that are important to us. So this is coming. This is inevitable. This is this idea of these things are important and that stress is inevitable. However, we can manage our interpretation of that stress. You have exactly 30 days until the last day of classes, and the pressure will be mounting. How will you respond? How can we be ready and firm, as Marcus says, for all of the unexpected events and the expected ones? This is where we're at. Lightning may strike at any time. There could be a downpour of rain. There may be rainbows and clear spells. So we need a plan to make our way across to our destination, and we need a plan for sudden and unexpected events. To do this, we need a framework. So here I've got Dr. Evian Gordon. He is a psychiatrist, Harvard trained. This is meant to tell us that we should listen to him, but he's also gone off to get a PhD in neuroscience as well. He started a company called Brain Resources, which talks about using a brain-based method, neuroscience, evidence to help train leadership into for businesses. This is where he's trying to make his money. But he has this wonderful framework to understand our brain on how we can train it. If we understand this framework, then we're able to design strategies that will fit it and help to manage ourselves and what we'll see is our stress and emotions and which parts are doing what. So I'm just going to quickly play. Holy heck, there's a ton of great stuff in this clip. Here I've just laid it all out onto the screen. One rule: minimize danger, maximize rewards. There are 2 modes that we're working. I've got to even go back to that. I can't even stop. continue at me. This is minimizing danger and maximizing rules. This is the one rule that's going to organize everything that is happening in all of your behavior. You're trying to avoid anything that's interpreted as threat or something that makes you feel unsafe or scared. Then you are going to try to minimize that as much as possible, and then you're going to be maximizing rewards. So this is twofold, that if we notice everything, if we interpret stress as being scary and fearful, then we will try to minimize that, and whatever that looks like, it may be fight or flight. Then if we look at the other side, he says that maximizing rewards is about goal setting and achieving the things that we want. So wherever we're focusing, and first of all interpreting, and then where we're focusing our attention, makes a massive difference in how our brain's going to be working for us. Then there's the conscious and non-conscious. You would have known these already. Maybe what you didn't know is the non-conscious biases that influence most of our decisions, which is really frustrating because we're not aware of them. Understanding the biases and the rules that you live by are going to be massive. The thing in here that he pointed out that freaked me out the most was the sense of control. If he talks in there and he says, if I offer you a benefit, if someone gives you some advice, because it came from me and that you didn't come up with it, you may interpret that as a loss of control. And unconsciously, you will sabotage yourself so that there then fits into your belief system, and you won't actually follow through. So every single Fresh Start seminar, if you come in with the idea that none of this is in your control, that I'm just lecturing to you and yelling it at you and just telling you what to do, that is, if unconsciously, or in his words, non-consciously interpreted as a loss of control, you won't follow through. And what's worse is that you will come up with a whole bunch of reasons to say why not, and none of them will be because of you. It could be multiple rationalizations about how you are the victim in this case. You are right and everything else is wrong. So this here is incredibly frustrating and points back to this idea that we need to know ourselves very, very well. And this idea really of having an open mind. An open mind when trying to learn something is showing up and saying, I'm not afraid to say I don't know this, and I'm not going to disagree with it right away. If you have that mindset, then that is, I would say that is probably about as open as anyone could ask you to be when you show up. If you're finding something bored or frustrating, this could be the approach to help you. Like, oh, I just know all of this, or I've seen this before. The difference between, he even talks about knowledge and action. Just because you know something doesn't mean you're going to follow it and optimize your life to be performing at your best. Is your life working at the most optimal level possible? Are you achieving everything that you want to achieve in all areas of your life? I'm going to guess probably not. Not many of us are. That there freaks me out, especially as an educator. 4 processes: emotional, feeling, thinking, self-regulation. I really like this, a distinction he makes between emotions and feeling. Emotions are non-conscious, and then feelings are a conscious experience of those. He says that emotions, which is my biggest one down here, emotions are significance detectors for making decisions. Emotions tell us where we're supposed to go. They're telling us what to do. Feelings of excitement and happiness tell us, okay, do these things more often. They make you feel great. Feelings of boredom, what's that telling me? Feelings of stress, what's that telling me? Feelings of being overwhelmed, what's that telling me? Feelings of being hurt and upset, what's that telling me? Being able to understand that, and not just, because all those feelings, boredom, being hurt, feeling frustrated, feeling overwhelmed, those all suck. And so that induces their stress response, and now we're trying to avoid it, or we fight it, or unconsciously our biases are going to take over and we're going to behave the same way that we behaved over and over again. So we need to reinterpret what are these emotional signals that are being sent to me so that I can now make good decisions. How do you make a good decision? Best decisions will occur when your emotions and thinking are aligned. This is wild to me. This is absolutely wild. Self-regulation is when we manage emotions, feelings, and thinking to master stress and to plan ahead. Do you need to master stress? I'm going to say it's probably a positive skill, even if you're so confident right now to be answering that question with, no, I got it. Fine, but in the future, can you be prepared? Have an open mind saying that you don't know everything right now. Even if you feel like you do, still telling yourself, you know what, I don't know it all. Giving yourself regulating, this idea of regulation, being able to say, okay, I can take myself from put it on a scale. Regulation is being a tricky term for students to be able to understand this. The self-regulation is being, this managing means I can take myself from a level 10 stress. Something happens and I'm at a 10. I work 3 weeks, every single day, every single week, and I get a 45 on my midterm. I would be so mad. But then being able to say, I'm at a level 10 out of 10. I'm so mad, I'm furious. Now, regulation means taking yourself from a level 10 and not making, can you make any decisions when you're at a level 10 out of 10 for anger and frustration? No. No good decisions are going to come. You're going to be mean to your parents, you'll be mean to your friends, probably be mean to your significant other. Somebody walks in front of you, you'd be cursing them underneath your breath. If you're driving a vehicle, someone cuts in front of you, you might even yell and scream. Right? You become very sensitive when we're at 10 out of 10 for stress and frustration and anger, depending on how it is for you. So what we need to do is regulate. Regulate means take that from a 10 down to, how can I take this down to a 9? And how can I go from a 9 down to an 8? And how can I go from an 8 down to a 7? So for whatever it may be, for you it might be, okay, I got to go to the gym, I got to run this off. I just got to forget about this exam for a minute. Yeah, I'm pissed off. That's a terrible result. I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to jump on the treadmill, I'm going to go outside, I'm going to go for a walk, I'm going to listen to some music for half an hour, I'm going to go and have a good meal, I'm going to go shopping and buy myself something nice. We've got to be able to find something that helps me to calm down, to go from, to manage that stress, because I can't make good decisions when I'm at 10 out of 10. My best decisions are always going to be when my emotions are aligned with my thinking. So I have goals. I want to do better on the next test. How can I fix this? Okay, I got to get emotions aligned with that. I can't be, if I'm frustrated and pissed off at the result, am I aligned with my goals of doing well? Probably not. So I have to reassess. So this is what we're going to be looking at. Where does this all begin? Babies. This is my son. He is 19 months old in this picture, and he loves the toys, these little rides in the mall. So this is Southgate Mall, and he is susceptible to tantrums, and he doesn't have very good regulation. He actually has pretty good sleep regulation. He's pretty good. If he wakes up in the middle of the night, he might be upset, his teeth might be hurting, but he's actually able to soothe and calm himself down. He might grab a toy, he might grab his water bottle, or he might even hold on to his little sleep sack that he's in, and he sometimes sucks on the corner of that to help soothe him, and he falls back to sleep within a few minutes. However, when he is down here and I turned on, I didn't know that I couldn't put in the money. As soon as I made the machine go, he flipped out. He wasn't super happy, and it was very scary for him. He didn't like the movement at all, and all of the noise. They're quite noisy, quite loud, and there's a lot going on. It wasn't this one, it was the one next door, which was a helicopter, maybe two over. It was a helicopter with Spider-Man on it, and the helicopter has flashing lights, and it's moving side to side, and there's a man talking to you, and it was just a little bit too much, and he freaked out. But for him, I'm able to calm him down by other things that he likes. If I maximize his rewards, minimize the threat, so I take him out of there. He can't get himself out of the machine very well and fast enough for his liking, so I take him out, get him out of the thing, minimize the threat, and I start pointing and saying, Xavier, it's okay, it's okay. I try to calm him down by talking to him in a calm, soothing voice, and then I can point over, hey, look at this teddy over here, look, there's a teddy over there, what's that, what's that? And I know that he likes teddies, and he's able to see something and start maximize, so he can go towards the thing that's going to maximize his rewards, and he's able to calm down. Now, he's not able to do this all on his own, but we're teaching him to slowly be able to manage his emotions. He's not going to do this for several years on his own, but we're slowly showing him how to do it, and you do this already on your own. Distraction may not be the best one for you, but you still minimize threats and you still try to maximize rewards. For us, it may not work because our goals are not aligned with distraction. In our case, it's procrastination. If you find yourself on YouTube for hours on end, feeling disgusting after you've just wasted an hour of your time, or binge watching Netflix for an entire evening where you had planned out 2 readings you were going to get done, and you're going to start writing on your other essay, and you're going to have another hour to just review what happened in the week and a little bit of planning to make your weekend the best experience, but you ended up watching Suits for all 5 of those hours. Right? Just these types of distractions aren't going to cut it anymore. And it won't work because the emotions don't go away. Those feelings don't come away. How do you feel after you've procrastinated for 5 hours and you realize, oh my god, I've just done this? Regret, what is that emotion telling us? Guilt, what is that telling us? It means that we have, in this case, we have not been aligned with our rules. We had set ourselves some rules or a certain standard that we wanted to live by, and we did not actually live up to it. And so this is what this is telling us. It's telling us, you know what? Get your life sorted out. Get back on track. If you're feeling guilty about something, it's telling you exactly what you need to do. If you've hurt somebody, it means you need to go out and reach out to that person. And if you're feeling guilty about a conversation you've had with someone, then you want to stop, figure out how you can sort that out. That's what these feelings are telling us. They're telling us certain things to do. An example with students is going to be something along the lines of feeling pretty crappy and having this type of question-answer type response. Why does this always happen to me? What did I do to deserve this? What's wrong with me? Now, the feeling like shit may not come. This arrow may not be. The arrow is more for questions, answers, questions, answers. You're feeling like shit. The emotions come first, as the video showed us. Our emotions and our feelings are going to be coming first, and then our thinking comes on board. We start wondering what is going on. Then our mind and its infinite wisdom gives us answers. These are the types of answers we get with these types of questions. So the one thing that we want to start doing, if we have our emotions are going to be able to react, and then the feelings are felt, the thoughts are going to be reactive. Self-regulation tries to coordinate all of these to serve us best in our decision-making process for what to do next. Now, but remember, we have to align our decisions, or our best decisions, our emotions and thoughts align together. Is this student's emotions aligned and coordinated with her thinking? Yes or no? I guess we don't really know what her goals are, but if we could say her goals are still to do well, then she's not. Here we could say that this is a very problem-focused student. So the one strategy I want to give you right now is the types of questions that we ask ourselves are a very, very smart way to focus our attention and to regulate the emotion and bring our emotions aligned with what we actually want. So this goes back to my question and the subtitle for today's seminar: what do you want? Every time you sit down to a meeting, an appointment, a lecture, a study session, an assignment reading, an assignment, what do you want? What is the outcome you want to leave here with? Stephen Covey even says this in his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. This is number 2. Number 2 is begin with the end in mind, with the outcome in mind. Asking yourself, what do you actually want to accomplish right here, right now? You can ask this question you're about to ask this question in the activity over the next 45 days. What do you actually want? And then you can ask this over the next 5 minutes. So this question is incredibly powerful. And let's see what happens when this goes on. Let's say that the student has this strategy and the mind intercepts these terrible feelings and these terrible questions that are only going to bring about bad answers. And this mind here says, let's ask better questions. Alright then. What could I do to make my studying more effective? Or how can I improve so that this does not happen again? So here the student is taking a lot of responsibility for their actions, taking full responsibility, I'd say, and being able to then invoke creativity, curiosity, and motivation. Emotion comes from French and Latin. I think the French is, I'm going to butcher it. It is yeah, I'm going to butcher it. I'm going to try. It is to set in motion. So if you're feeling low motivation, it's because your emotions are not aligned with your goals. Ask yourself, what do you actually want? If we do this, this is where we get this energy that people talk about, this feeling of unlimited potential, or your superpower, or the strength or power inside of you. Once we get these two aligned, and once we do it over and over again, you've experienced it before. Things become easy. Time disappears. You get lost in the moment, and 4 hours feels like 1 hour. You do so much work and become so productive that it is. You look back and think, I don't even know how I completed all that. It does actually seem like a superpower, but it's available at any time, and this is one way to do it. Ask better questions. Get your emotions on board and aligned with your goals. Marcus talks about this over and over again. You have power over your mind, not outside events. He's always talking about this sense of control. Focus on the things that you can control. Realize this and you will find strength. This is exactly what we were just talking about. The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. We just saw that in the student's experience. In that first experience, how had she been feeling? Terrible. In the second experience, where she asked better questions, she's starting to feel inspired and starting to believe more in herself, and her mind is trying to maximize rewards instead of minimizing threat. It'll start telling her, okay, maybe this is a plan that you could try, or this is another plan, and then maybe try this, or go talk to this person, or do that. We'll try to go through an example shortly. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of that thing. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. This is ridiculous. This is 2,000 some years old. He's writing this to himself, and here he is almost defining our idea of... I'm going to pause. What do you think the answer is? It's the number 4 in the processes that Dr. Evian Gordon talked about, and it's one of our modules, self-regulation. If you estimate something and at the start you feel like you're an 8 out of 10 for anger, you have the power to revoke that at any moment. Now maybe you don't, maybe you can make it go all the way to 0. I'm sure there's some strategies. Imagine if some people just let go of it and they're like, okay, whatever, fine, I'm moving on. Maybe that would go from an 8 out of 10 in that moment all the way down to a 2 or a 1. But he's saying that you can still regulate your estimate of that thing. The distress is entirely your perception. That's why we can have 100 students in a class and we'll have 100 different variations of the exact same scenario. If somebody wins $100, we might have 100 different experiences of joy and happiness. Some people might go, holy heck, that's huge. And someone else, and their experience and personal life experiences, might think, oh, that's not bad. The same for poor grades. Some people will say that it's the end of the world. Some people will be able to bounce back. They'll be able to interpret their estimate of it. Completely subjective to the exact same event. Where do we start? Anyone name what this is? Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Well done, if you got that one right. You would have seen these before in high school. If you've done any psychology, this is popping up for sure. If you've done health ed, this definitely pops up as well. This idea that we all have universal needs that need to be met. And Maslow has a theory that says these are hierarchical. Before I can move up a level, I have to have achieved the lower level. So if I want to self-actualization, we can imagine as being personal growth, being the best person that you can be. Learning, growth, development, those types of ideas. Now we can't get to that level of being able to learn something new or being able to have personal growth and feel like we are growing if I don't have esteem. This is where probably closer to self-confidence now, or self-efficacy, belief in one's own abilities. Below is love and belonging. Below that, if we don't have this idea that you can love other people and you know that other people love you, this kind of this connection with people. If you don't have that, it's very hard to go up the next level. Safety, if we don't feel safe in our environment or in who we are, it's going to be very difficult to connect with people, let alone believe in ourselves and our own abilities, let alone be able to then develop personally and develop growth and progress forward in our lives. And then down to physiological, if we've got an illness or if we're not meeting our sleep or nutritional needs, we're going to be feeling pretty crappy, and it's hard. So sometimes we won't be able to make the first step. You'll see this in lectures. If you see someone come into the lecture and in your lecture and they're passed out, fast asleep, that student cannot move up those rungs and learn what's going on because they haven't met their basic physiological need. Now, the way that you guys have seen these and assessed these before is in pie charts like this. This here is something that you would have done probably countless times as a life skill. These can be done at any time. Now, this here is a perfect timing for me to jump in and say, do not say that you know everything. Yes, you've seen these before. Give it a rest. Tell yourself, I'm going to give this a chance. I'm going to say that I don't know everything, and that maybe this could be helpful. Let me listen. We'll use the center as being a 0 and then the outside edge as being a 10, and you get to say how satisfied you are with each area in your life. Now we can go back that these actually meet needs. These pie charts are based on this idea of meeting all of our needs. This idea, why do we talk about a holistic approach to life and life balance, is we want to balance all areas of our life. So if we go through here and find that I'm a 4 out of 10 for school, and for health, I'm at a 2. I definitely don't feel anywhere near as healthy as I did in September. Relationships, I'm at a 5 or a 4. Spirituality and purpose, holy heck, I'm super nervous. I'm at a 0 or a 1 for that. I don't even know what's going on. Community and recreation, I'm feeling okay with that. I'm on a couple of teams and I participate in my community. Daily living, I'm at a 5. So we go around and we can start seeing that if your wheel is small, then you can see that if you have to work really hard to get that turning, and you don't go very far. If any of these are lacking, if you've got really high ones and your wheel is really pointy, then it could be, or lopsided, then it can be really difficult. Maybe it's hard to spin the wheel, and it's really hard to go fast and work it. So this idea that I can always regulate any of these. So if I'm at a 5 in health, okay, how can I get myself to a 6? Well, I'm going to make a couple of healthy lunches this week, or I'm going to reorganize my pantry. I don't know, these are things that I think of. Whatever it is for you. If your relationships are at a 5 or a 6, and you're like, oh man, I didn't really... Stepping back and looking at it like this, okay, maybe I could make an adjustment, and you'll start thinking, you know what, I just haven't called my parents for a while. I'm just going to send them a text message and organize a call for the weekend, and we'll Skype for an hour. I'll set aside some time, and we'll talk on Sunday. Right? It could be simple as that, or it could be a friendship that's been lacking because you've been studying or working too hard. Right? Just these little bits. Whatever spirituality and purpose is for you. This could be a meeting with Angela Roney over in the Career Center if you're wondering about career options. She worked through 2 great lectures over the past year to be able to show you how you can research and experience and just experiment with some forward motion in your career. How to get some experience so that you know, is this for you? Spirituality, whatever that may be for you, connecting with a greater purpose. So even contributing, that could come over to here, and contributing with your community or recreation of some sort. Community specifically. Are you having fun? Are you exercising? Are you getting the types of experiences that you want? And how is daily life going? Again, this is incredibly helpful on telling us, okay, if I'm at a level 5, how can I get myself to a level 6? And if we just improve one rung on each of these, you guys already, we don't even have to talk about what to do. You guys know what to do for yourselves. You guys have all the answers in this part. You will know what's best for you. We can offer some suggestions and tell you what's worked in the past. This is the idea of modeling successful people. It's okay to find out. That's why we can offer what seems like advice, but it's best practices that is being studied and researched, especially when it comes to learning. Telling you that a question study strategy is incredibly powerful. It only comes from the evidence that we've seen. It's not anecdotal, it is shown over several different ways, so we can use that strategy to model it. But you guys know what's worked for you in the past, so just to get yourself from a 5 to a 6, you know what to do. Figure that out. Solve the problem. But by asking these questions, we're now trying to maximize rewards. If you tell your brain, hey, I want to go from a 5 to a 6, it's going to say, okay, let's do it. And it's going to start answering that question. It's going to start trying to find ways. It's going to be on board with you. So I did this with the students. We started off with the grand question. What would be the best vision for your finals? So let's have a quick look at that. I'm going to bring this over to the screen here. So you're going to get to see Thursday nights. I think it starts off with some silly. So booty is one of them. I don't think that's going to be the best possible vision for the finals. Keeping the peace and love, man. This here again is missing the point entirely. No regrets. So there's a good one. Having that one, but maybe stating it more positively. Being prepared to reduce my stress and following my study plan. Not too bad. This here is quite specific. Having fun, having the best fun possible experience is a great place to start. Good organization and a downward trend in stress approaching my final. Be fully prepared for the storm to come. Sure. Leave my finals knowing I studied and prepared as well as I could. No problem. Have a solid understanding of the core material of the course. Great goal. To go into exams physically healthy and ready to write. This is almost asking the second question as well, but this is saying I want to achieve a consistent and measurable study schedule for the 3 weeks before finals. Maintaining sleep and eating habits through the finals, not getting sick leading up to exams, no all-nighters. These are good rules to live by. I feel like I did my absolute best. I feel like this here is a good one saying for the vision part. These next ones are quite specific and they start getting into the other ones. Good breakfast, a little too specific, just be happy. Okay, let's see follow that through and see how that goes for you. I feel like that's still not taking it seriously enough. So we get the ideas. We get the idea here that we want to have the best possible vision for yourself. Alright, let's go back to number 3 is, what are the 3 categories of your life that you need to focus on for the next 30 days to make that vision real? So this here would be, in the case of, for me, it would be have the ultimate best experience ever during finals. Okay, what does that look like? Okay, well, I have to be healthy. I've got to study, and I've got to finish all my assignments. So my 3 sections would be current assessment and studying, preparing for finals, and stress management, or feeling healthy. So the feeling healthy would be great. From there, those are my 3 categories. Where do I need to focus in each of those categories? So if I say feeling great, then I'm going to be focusing on, quite easily I could break that down into food, exercise, and stress management, or emotional, mental health, emotional well-being. What are the things I could do for that? And from there, I could break that down into, okay, for stress management, what can I do? For emotional well-being, what are the 2 tasks that I can do? And for nutrition, what are the things I could do for those? So then that gives me the 2 things what I need to do. By starting at our vision, it leads us in the right direction, because now they're inducing positive emotions anyway, so we're getting our emotions aligned with what we want, but our mind is also going to be trying to maximize results. So I want to maximize this best vision. This is the result I want, the reward that I want, and then it just filters down and it tells me, okay, this is how you get it. We can have a look over here, and this is the document that you're going to be submitting. Vision. Here it is. What is the ultimate vision for your finals? What are the categories you need to focus on that will make this real? And then break those down further and further. You can keep doing that. I made this an activity during the seminar. Students that completed it during the seminar and took a picture of it, and they were able to upload it. They were able to I made a drawer and I gave away Marcus Aurelius's. We've been talking about Marcus for a little while now, and we're able to give away, I have 6 of these, so I gave away 3. So those people have already been told. So that's what this is. As we saw in the Brain 124, our emotions react to cues. So when we then feel the feelings, we then feel our feelings, and our thoughts are triggered. So this all happens very, very quickly, but the emotions will respond to some sort of cue, then we feel our feelings, and then we think our thoughts. Self-regulation is used to plan and master stress, to regulate these feelings, imagining each of our emotions on that scale of 1 to 10, and how we move up and down it is the type of regulation we mean. The most common feeling that students are going to have is procrastination. It's a behavior, but it's also a sense. We have an emotional response to an assignment, then we go into a stress response, and then we go into a sort of behavior. We have to minimize threat, so we move away from the assignment. We try to maximize rewards. We are attracted to things that will give us pleasure. And that's what procrastination is doing. So in stress, if stress is the thing that is setting us off, what do we have to do? If stress is telling us, no, our emotion, the environment, the cue that we're getting is, this is stressful, so now I'm going off. Now whether this is fear or frustration or anger, whatever the stress response may be, stress is typically going to be interpreted as a threat. Something is threatening you right now. So if we can be honest about it, there's something threatening about this assignment or me doing the studying. What is it? We can go a little bit deeper and say, okay, what am I actually feeling? Okay, I'm actually scared that I'm not going to be successful, or I am thinking too overconfidently and it's too easy. I've got more time than I have. I can do this tomorrow in a few minutes, no problem. So what we need to do when we have the stress response, we're not making good decisions, because those two decisions, running away or saying that I can do it easily tomorrow, putting it off, those are not our best decisions that are aligned with what we want. We want to do well, and we want to complete it on time, I imagine would be the goal, is what you want to have. Those are your thoughts. So now let's get our emotions aligned. Those are not aligned. So when we feel stress, we have to go through the stress response. That's happening, no matter what. This is automatic, right? Our emotions are non-conscious. We don't get a choice. It happens. So now we have to start, as soon as we feel it, we have to start regulating it. And we can do that by addressing the stress. The way we address the stress is to give it a name and give it a score. How much are you feeling right now? I like giving it a name, as it creates a little bit of detachment from the feeling. It's not me. It's a thing that's happening. I'm not a stressful person. I'm not an angry person. I'm not a lazy person. I'm just being lazy right now because it's a stress response. It's not who I am. It's just showing up one more time. State your concerns. Actually dig a little bit deeper and say, okay, if I'm experiencing stress, what am I worried about? What am I stressed about? The next step is to give yourself a break. Know that this is difficult and you are uncomfortable right now. We have to embrace, and we can't run away from this discomfort anymore. We can't keep avoiding it. It's going to happen. Whenever you procrastinate about an assignment or studying for an exam, do you achieve your goal? Do you do the work and do well on the exam? No. Do you still have to do the work eventually? Yes. You still have to do it. So let's just acknowledge. Remember, we have to address the stress. So I have to tell my brain, hey, no, nothing's stressful here. We're not threatened. We're just a little bit worried. So by embracing it and saying, okay, I'm a little bit concerned, I'm a little bit stressed, by giving it a number, by giving it a name, we are saying, okay, stress is here. All right, calm down. We're at a 10 out of 10 at the start. We want to get ourselves down to a 7 or a 6 or a 7. We can do this by doing these three things. Giving it a name, giving it a score, stating our concerns, acknowledging it, and then we must do this, especially with procrastination. You have to give yourself a break. Now, this is a slippery slope. A lot of people are going to be really worried about this part because they think I'm giving myself too many breaks. But that's okay. This is the idea that This is being mindful. This is the idea of discipline there. When you fall off the wagon, you get right back on. It's okay to fall off because this is an automatic response. If you don't catch it every time, you're going to procrastinate in the future. But if you forgive yourself for this time being, okay, this is going to reduce the stress, so now you can start asking those good questions, and now you can get right back on track. Because you've gone from a 10 down to a 7, now you might be at a 5. By forgiving yourself, you might even be at a 4. So that stress response that we were in, we've been able to regulate it now all the way down really low to start, okay, how can I solve this problem? We can't do that when we're at a 8 out of or a 9 out of 10 for procrastination or feeling stressed. We can't come up with solutions. We're just going to be lost in thought, and however it manifests for you, worry or frustration, anger, whatever it may be for you, we won't be able to snap out of it and make our best decisions. We have to address the stress and accept this is difficult and give ourselves a break. Finally, only then can we start focusing on the locus of control. That's a psychology term for the day. What is in your control? What can you actually do? And this is here is where we start focusing on the solution. We start asking the questions. What can you do right now? And the brain will start maximizing rewards. You've already minimized threat. You've already minimized the danger here. So it's calmed right down. So now it's going to be in your favor to say, okay, let's focus on rewards. Where do I want to be? What do I actually want? And now, by asking this question, we're on our way. The brain's on board. Let's find some answers. And then that's going to evoke new emotions to get us moving. This might play out in this way. Arg, I'm procrastinating again. Welcome back, Mr. Procrastination. I'm feeling a 9 on my level of boredom with this reading, Mr. Procrastination. Well, you have to remember, procrastination is a stress response. So what am I stressed about? I'm a bit stressed. It's a 6 out of 10. I'm really concerned that I don't really know how to do this. But that's okay. I've only just started the assignment, so I'm not really supposed to know how to do this. So now I've calmed myself down. Now I'm into that green stage of, okay, so what can I do? I know this assignment is supposed to be challenging, and I do still want to improve my skills. So I'm setting a forward goal. I do know what I actually want. Okay, so what can I do? Well, I can ask my TA for more clarification and set up a basic rubric for myself for what I think I need to accomplish. You will go through this process maybe in 60 seconds if you catch yourself. This here is a very helpful way. Address the stress, accept the situation. It's hard, you feel crappy, it's difficult, you're worried, you're frustrated, you're angry. Accept it. Give yourself a break. What can you do? If you do a search for Dr. Adrian Gordon, you'll be able to break stress in 60 seconds. We're not going to find it. I'm not going to watch it here. But if you do a search, he has a 3-step method as well, which is quite great. And you can break stress. But what he's talking about is regulating stress based on something pretty similar to what we just did. But he uses some visual images of a stop sign and a couple of other things. But we've come to the end of ours. My takeaways for you are, you can manage the pressure with your strategies. Once you start asking the right questions, the strategies come. You'll be able to prevent stress with a clear purpose to support your actions. So you could have less stressful experience if you plan. That's what we did in the first part. In the second part, we said if you get struck by lightning, in the moment that you feel that stress come on and you're at 8 levels and you're at an 8 or a 9 or a 10 out of 10 for whatever emotion you're feeling, that's when you need to intervene. And you can regulate it and regulate your emotions and start aligning them with your goals by addressing the stress. Address the emotion that you're feeling. Go through those steps. And you're going to be able to achieve the vision that you want for your finals experience. Marcus leaves us with objective judgment now at this very moment. Selfish action now at this very moment. Willing acceptance now at this very moment of all external events. That is all you need. If you want to be ready and firm, this will do it. Thank you. I wish you all the best for the next 30 days and your 2 weeks of finals. I'm always available to talk and meet with you. If you wish to make a more detailed plan for your finals, let us meet and we can map it out together so that you can go into a little bit more detail for achieving your ultimate vision and mastery of your finals. Please answer the questions below this video. Thank you and all the best.